What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and I'm sure you all remember that story we talked about the other day. You know, the one with the dead body that was found in the freezer at Arby's? Yeah, that story. Now, if you haven't watched my previous videos, you might want to go back and watch them for all of the juicy details about what's going on here. But long story short, a woman's body was found frozen in the freezer at an Arby's in Louisiana. Detectives say that they do not believe foul play is involved, but they have not ruled it out yet. Word on the streets is that the employees are saying that they've been complaining to management and to corporate about the door to the freezer at this Arby's. As some of you all probably know, these freezer doors, they can be open from the inside to ensure that you don't get locked in there and freeze to death like what happened to this woman. But employees say that the door was broken. Now, in the last video, I told you all that if that's true, then this family of this deceased woman, who turns out to be a manager at Arby's, who they shipped in from out of state to help them at this location. So I don't know if maybe she didn't know that this door was broken. I don't know about all of that. But one thing I do know, that if it's true that this door was broken and they had complained about it, then this family needs to lawyer up and sue Arby's for every single beef and cheddar that they are worth. And ladies and gentlemen, it looks like that is about to happen because this family did lawyer up. But not just that. Something weird is going on here. Their lawyers seem to believe that there are some very suspicious details when it comes to this story. For one, they're questioning why it took so long for someone to find out where this woman was, to find out that this woman was in the freezer. From everything I've been told, not told from law enforcement, but I've talked to sources that are close to this story, employees showed up and the manager had not opened up the restaurant yet. And they were wondering what was going on. But I do know that the woman's body, as far as what has been reported by the mainstream media and law enforcement, wasn't found until like 10 p.m. that night. So lawyers are wondering, why did it take y'all like 12 hours to figure out that this woman was in the freezer? And I mean, there's just other details that we're about to go over right now. So let's just go ahead and hop right in. Houston law firm releases statement in Arby's employee death. A Texas woman was found in the freezer of a new Iberia fast food restaurant on May 11th. She was later identified as 63-year-old Najuyet Lee. Lee's family is now being represented by Paul Skrabanek of Pierce Skrabanek in Houston to further investigate. The Houston-based law firm issued the following statement. A shocking discovery was made at an Arby's restaurant in New Iberia, Louisiana, a city located roughly 132 miles away from New Orleans. A 63-year-old woman, a mother, and a store manager was found dead inside of the freezer. She was later identified as Najuyet Lee from Texas. Investigators have stated that foul play is not suspected, but the accidental death still seems to be very suspicious. According to Captain Leland Lassiter of the New Iberia's Police Department Criminal Investigations Division, a situation like this is unusual, so we're taking extra precautions during the investigation. Najuyet Lee's family has hired Paul of Pierce Skrabanek in Houston to help investigate and hold accountable those responsible for the potential negligence that led to such a disturbing end for their loved one. We were honored to represent the surviving children of Miss Lee arising out of this tragic event that should have never occurred. Lee's body was found by an Arby's employee Thursday night on May 11th during the regular business hours around 6:20 p.m. Okay, so we have some new information now. The location was the freezer. Lee was pronounced dead at the scene by the Iberia Parish Coroner's Office, and investigators confirmed that Lee worked at the fast food restaurant as a manager. No foul play was suspected in her passing, but the precise cause of her death is still unknown and awaiting a full autopsy. Arby's corporate communications team has released a statement. We are aware of the incident that took place at our franchise location in New Iberia, Louisiana. The franchisee is cooperating fully with local authorities as they conduct their investigation. Due to this being an active investigation, we defer any further comment to the police department. While the police captain has stated that the situation seems like an accident, questions still linger surrounding how Lee's death occurred and why the discovery of her body took so long. Other staff members at the Arby's have been interviewed in this ongoing investigation, and the coroner is still working to determine the official cause of death. New Liberia police officers and ambulances were called to the Arby's restaurant at around 6:19 p.m. on May 11th. Police say an employee discovered the woman, who is a manager for Arby's, in the freezer unresponsive. Okay, so we do have some new information there. It was originally reported that this woman was found at 10 p.m. And it was my understanding that law enforcement found her. Because I do know that the woman arrived at Arby's early that day and she was opening up the restaurant. Employees got there, the restaurant had not been opened. They're calling the manager, they're not getting any answers. The son of the manager was also in town living with his mother because they got shipped into town to help at this Arby's, or his mother did. He couldn't contact her. He couldn't get in contact with her. And eventually they found the body in the freezer. It was my understanding that law enforcement found it, but no. They say an employee found the body at around 6:19 p.m. or, roughly around 6-ish. So I'm wondering, did you guys open the store once you realized the manager wasn't there? Did y'all start working and go about your regular day and then y'all found the body? Something is not sitting right with me about this story. The original way this information was reported was that they didn't find the body until like 10 p.m. And, I think this changes everything, because if the store remained closed throughout the entire day and eventually police entered the building and found the lady, that's a totally different story than, maybe the business was just operating and employees were here the whole time while the woman's freezing in the freezer. Now, I do know the freezer was like negative 30 degrees, so she did not last in there too long. But I'm still questioning what could have really happened here. Because, I gotta believe that if employees were at this location when this happened, surely they would notice, hey, someone's missing. Surely maybe one of them would have to go to the freezer throughout the day. And I would think that if y'all were already complaining about this freezer door, maybe you had a system set up to make sure no one goes to the freezer by themselves. But I know this manager was from out of state, so I don't know if she even knew that there was a problem with the freezer door. But her being a manager is kind of what makes me ask questions as well, because we live in a crazy world and we're witnessing crazy things happen all the time. People have a real problem dealing with authority. Who knows, maybe the manager wanted someone to actually do their job and they got pissed and they know she's in the freezer and they kick the door closed while they're walking by and they go about their day. And I've been asking the question the whole time, ever since this story came about, that how would law enforcement really prove that? If the woman goes in the freezer and the door is kind of open and a spiteful employee walks by and closes the door knowing she's in there, if it's not on camera and no one says anything or no one else knows anything, then I don't think they can really prove that. So someone may have very well been up to something shady, and someone may be, you know, responsible for this woman's death, and they may just get away with it. But I do think that this is really weird. And the fact that it changes everything to me. If they were just working in this restaurant and the woman was just in the freezer for hours and hours and hours, I don't know. I am really interested in finding out what's going on here. I am glad this family hired a lawyer. They definitely needed to. Because even if there's no foul play involved, there's still foul play involved. You know what I mean? Because if they were reporting that this door was broken and nothing was done about it, and a woman literally froze to death inside of a fast food restaurant because of it, I mean, that's just disgusting. But let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.